I got interested and joined. Yeah, joined the meeting. So it's really good to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you for being here with us. And if you follow our Critical Thinkers Club announcements for the next 1 month, there's a lot of debates that's going to happen, especially because of the Synergize conference that I spoke to you all about. It is basically the Middle East version of, or rather, the Middle East debating conference. So you'll have clubs from different countries in the Middle East competing against each other, like a proper debating contest, right? So you'll have fun. So if you follow it, you'll see more of it. You can witness it. You want to participate in something as a role player or something, please let us know. We can also include you in that. It's totally up to your passions as a debater, right? So the door is open for you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Arush. Also, I can see Ravi Patil. Ravi, hi, how are you? Good evening, Ravi.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, all. I'm good, thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
for being here, Ravi.
yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to see how not to raise the voice because even without a debate, I can see my voice raises in the office many a times when I talk to consultants. So just I wanted to see how you control your voice, or how you modulate it actually. So just looking forward to it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you. I think our last guest, I can see, I'd seen another name. Did I miss someone? Rajesh? Did I speak to Rajesh? No, I didn't speak to Rajesh. Hi, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi, I think I have already done.
Oh, yeah, we spoke. Rajesh, we spoke. Sorry. You're from Bangalore. I remember
Yeah.
we spoke. Yes. Fantastic. So I think I've covered everyone in a quick span of, I think, 5-6 minutes. So great to have everybody here. This is going to be a great meeting, a lot of learning, especially from the next session, the session we're going to have right now, about what debates actually are about. So many of you may not have experienced professional debates. Some of you who have experienced debates will have a fair idea of what is going to be spoken, but you're going to hear it from the eyes and perspective of one of the founding members of Critical Thinkers. This is a Toastmaster who I have tremendous respect for, not only for his knowledge, but also his selflessness in supporting the cause of debating and being a support system. And the reason I say that is from my personal experience. The last year, when we were contesting as debaters from elite debaters for Kuwait, he was the guiding force behind our victory because he was the person who was our mentor, our coach, who guided us through a lot of things. When he comes here, he's going to be very humble about all this. I'm giving you in advance. I'm telling you this, but the fact remains that he's a pillar of strength for the debating culture or debating people who are passionate about debates in Kuwait and also in the Middle East. He gives a lot of trainings on debates and shares his knowledge with a lot of passionate debaters. So you're going to learn a lot from this session, and he's going to keep it interactive, so you can discuss also with him whatever your queries also are, and it's going to be a great experience. I'm confident of that. I would like to invite the gem, the diamond of Critical Thinkers Club, none other than DTM Noor Mohammed. Over to you, DTM Noor.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prince. Very good evening to all of you. As you all know, I don't have control over the perceptions of others. I'm sure, 100% sure that Prince has exaggerated telling about me. I'm just a Toastmaster, as he said. Moving on. So we are going to talk about debates today, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the slides. Are you all able to see the slides? Anyone? Thumbs up. Oh, great. So this is a basic introduction about debates, what debate is, and you will get to know about the general terms of the debate, and you will be able to better appreciate what a debate is and how you can go about it. So this is the basic introduction about debates. All right. So anyone, what is a debate? Can anyone tell me what's a debate? In your own words. I'm sure you're debating in your home with either your spouses or with your family members or with your colleagues or anyone in your office environment or at your school, college. So anyone, what's a debate? Please feel free.
It's a
I
discussion with, can I speak?
Yes, Nulafa, please go ahead.
It's a discussion between two parties with two opposing viewpoints to find out some common ground or maybe one viewpoint prevailing over the other at the end.
Definitely, it's a discussion between two parties with two differing opinions. That's very good. And the common ground, we will see what the common ground is. That's great definition, Nilofer. Yeah, Ritesh, you wanted to say something?
yes, I could alternatively put it as it's defending your view and trying to point the logical flaws in the other's argument to come to a common ground.
Come to everyone are saying to come to a common ground. Now, this is a pattern I'm observing. Anyone else?
It may be the case that you have to sometimes force your point on the other party. This could be like a hostile discussion. Sometimes you have it with some facts and figures, and try to convince the other party as well.
Try to convince the other party. Now, I will dispel some of the myths of debate in the upcoming slides. And it's not about forcing your point of view. It's about presenting your point of view and your perspective about certain things. So not to worry at all, Ravi. So yes, Veda.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, that we need not put ourselves in a position to convince the other. Rather, the focus should be to present our points in an emphatic manner, backed by reason, facts, and understanding of our perception of the topic, whatever is the motion in the house.
Yes, that's very accurate, almost to the point. However, we will also consider convincing not the opposing party, but the audience and the judges. We'll focus on convincing the audience and the judges that whatever we are presenting is better than the other team. Right. Let's look into the aspect what a debate is. Debate is primarily an inquiry and pursuit of the truth. So if you see the bottom, the heart of the debate, it's an inquiry and the pursuit of truth. We are the common ground. What everyone was saying is the truth. We want to know what is the truth. At the end of the day, for example, you're watching a debate, you will come closer to the truth. You will hear two points of view and you will be the judge who understanding what exactly is the truth about this particular topic, right? So debate at the heart is the inquiry and the pursuit of the truth. Now this is a part where I relate debate to the duality of our natures, our whole world. In India, we have the concept of Maya. In various different religions, we have the idea of duality inbuilt in various several ideas. So the duality is what separates the truth into two parts. And these two parts are nothing but the two teams of the debate. If you draw an analogy, all right, the affirmative team who will be for the motion and the negative team who will be speaking against the motion. So these two parts, they belong to the same whole. They are trying as how so many of you have that perception of the common ground. This is the same whole. They are talking about the central idea. They are trying to come to that common ground. They want to get to that idea, but they are so much fiercely holding their point of view. All right. And you have to present your point of view in such a way that the audience, you are not trying to come to a balanced point of view. You are only, as a debater, you are only going to talk about your perspective. If you are speaking for the motion, you will vehemently speak for the motion. You will not try to come to a balanced point of view. The audience will come to a balanced point of view when they listen to you and the opposing team. Right? As a debater, you should be focused on what you are speaking. Are you speaking for the motion or are you speaking against the motion? Sometimes you may speak for the motion. Sometimes you may speak against the motion. When you are speaking for the motion, do not try to come to a balanced point of view. All right, speak only for the motion. Now, there are certain key ideas that you need to keep in mind when you're debating. Right? Now, a debate is when two teams, right? The truth is divided into two. Similarly, a debate has two teams. The two teams use reasoned discourse, as what we heard from Aditya Mubera. She said a reasoned discussion, a reasoned discourse to argue on a particular subject. Right? There are two teams. Please mark the phrase reasoned discourse. All right? It's not arguments, it's not forcing your point of view, it's based on reasoning. Now, the immediate goal of any team is to convince the panel of judges who will be in the audience and the audience as well that whatever arguments you are presenting are better than those of the other team. Remember, this is the immediate goal of the each team. What's the immediate goal of the each team? Please keep this thing imprinted in your mind. Whenever you are debating, this thing should be very clear. Your aim should be very clear. The aim is to convince the panel of judges and the audience that whatever arguments you are presenting on that particular subject are better than those which are being presented by the other team. Clear? So this has to be very clear. This is the important aspect, so that you dispel that idea of forcing your point of view or trying to convince the other team. No, you're not trying to convince the other team. You're trying to convince the panel of judges, all right, and the audience, like how it happens in the courthouse. If you are the defense lawyer, or what you do is you try to convince the panel of judges who are sitting and the audience who is there, all right? So the judge should be convinced that whatever you're saying has merit to it, better than that of the other team. The emphasis is on the logic predominantly. So it doesn't mean you become a computer, a robot, and you just say logic all the time, all right? So, but the emphasis is on the logic. Whenever you're speaking, it's predominantly logic. So when the judges are marking you, they will see the logic aspect, the logical aspect predominantly. However, your persuasion tactics, which you learn in Toastmasters, like you learn several skills, your storytelling skills, your vocal variety, your voice modulation, your body language, all that thing will come into the other aspect of the debate, which will help you actually communicate your logic properly. All right. So, but never forget that debate is all about whether you are making sense or not. How critically are you looking at things? How closer are you to the truth? That is what matters. Right? Till now, are things clear, or are you having any difficulty in understanding these terms? If you have difficulty, please stop me and ask me immediately. Don't wait for the end of the presentation. Ask it immediately whenever you have a question. Stop me and I will reply to you. Moving on. Now, as I said, that every debate has a subject. All right. Now you can hear, and you will come across many different terms for this word subject of the debate. It can be called as a resolution, it can be called as a motion, it can be called as a proposition. All right. In all the cases, it is a declarative sentence which advocates a change from the status quo. Now let me break it down. All right. First is it's a declarative sentence. It will declare something. All right. And that declaration, it advocates a change from the status quo. What is status quo? Status quo is something which we are all comfortable with right now, and we don't want that thing to change. All right. Say, for example, video games are now, it's everywhere, and we are not opposing video games, like video games, what we play, right? So video games should be banned is it qualifies as a resolution, motion, proposition, or a subject because it's a declarative sentence. And it is advocating the change that video games are not okay. We should ban them now. So it is changing the status quo. It wants to change the status quo. It wants to advocate a change from the status quo. So anything which you want to bring up a change, resolution can be thought of bringing about a change in the society. All right. That's why debates play an important role in deciding the future of our country. For example, US presidential debate for that matter. So we understand why debate is such an important aspect or to really come to a truth because it advocates a change from the status quo. Change, remember, it's a change from the status quo. So we want to know whether this change is good change or whether we should not have this change. Now, the debates can be of three types. The resolutions can be of three types. It can be based on policy, it can be based on fact, or it can be based on a belief. Like video games should be banned is basically a debate which is based on policy. Like, for example, we want to ban it since it will become a policy in one of the governing states or country. Is it clear? Okay, I take silence as a yes. Now, as we have talked earlier, we have two teams, the affirmative team and the negative team. All right, the affirmative team, this is the team which wants the revolution. This is the team which supports the proposition. We do not like what's happening. We want to bring about a change. So these are the guys who will support this resolution. All right, that video games should be banned. Why they should be banned, they are going to talk about it. All right, so they are going to tell you all the reasons, supported by facts, supported by graphs, supported by so much of their evidence which they are going to accumulate and present to us, that we are going to listen to their side of the story. Now, the second team is the negative team. They are the critics. They always say, like, no, why we are all doing great, video games are good, why you need to bring about, why you need to ban. So they are the critics who say no to everything. So these guys say no to change. They don't want any change. They say no, we don't want video games to be banned, and they will tell you all the reasons in the world that why video games should not be banned. Right? So one are the revolutionists and others are the critics. All right. One want to bring about a revolution in the world. Others say, no, we are great with what we have and we don't need this change. Right? Clear? Great. Moving on to other key terms in debate. Now, contention. Now, if you hear this word contention, you can imagine like it's a box or a cupboard for that matter. All right. Now, it is a statement which is supported by a set of arguments. Think of it like that, like the box or the cupboard. Let's say if it is a bookshelf, for example, you put a lot of books in a bookshelf, right? So contention is like a bookshelf, right? You put several arguments in it, all right, and you name it. You put a label to it, all right. That label is contention, all right. So it is a statement which is supported by a set of arguments, all right. So in a debate, you might have 3 to 4 contentions, and each contention is supported by, let's say, 3 to 4 arguments, all right. So first is you build a set of contentions, all right. Each contention has, say, as a number of arguments, a set of arguments, let's say 3 to 4 arguments. So 3 to 4 arguments on one contention, and another 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 arguments on another contention. And contention number 3 might have 1 to 2 arguments, let's say. All right. So overall, you have 4 plus 3 plus 2, you have around 9 arguments totally in your speech. So in your debate, I mean. So contention is nothing but a statement which is supported by a set of arguments. Please don't mind me. I repeat things a lot so that we as adults, we only get something in our mind until it is repeated at least 2 to 3 times. All right. So this I have experience with my teenage child. I tell him one time, he says, Papa, you said me once, I understand it once. But when I ask him later, it's all in the air. Right? So as adults, we need repetition. Now, coming to the argument, as we said, in contention is a set of arguments. It's a statement which is supported by a set of arguments. Now let's see what an argument is in the first place. Now, if you think of several definitions we have about argument, the common perception of argument is like it's a heated exchange of words. All right, that's what we have the idea of an argument. But argument at its heart is a claim advanced by the support of evidence. It's a claim. You claim that video games should be banned. That's the subject, and you claim that, let's say, video games improve the human brain connections. Let's say that's a claim. You're claiming that by playing video games, somehow the connections in your brain, which are done by the neurons, they get somehow strengthened or new connections are formed. Now that's a claim, but it should be supported with proper evidence. So the argument has two aspects to it. All right, can be broken down into two parts: a claim and an evidence. And one without the other is as good as a very weak argument. So any strong argument should have a claim and it should have supporting evidence. All right. So let us see what a claim is and what evidence is. Right? A claim is a statement asserted with the argument that can be assessed to be true or false. So it is a statement which can be true or false. In short, it's a statement which can be true or false. Now, my son, when he was arguing with me, he was debating with me, and he said that video games, Papa, we need to buy the video game. Why? Because he said that somehow it improves his brain connections. Now it's a claim which can be true or which can be false. Now, how do I know that whatever that claim is true or false? All right. Then we will get into evidence. Now, evidence is the valid reference presented in support of the claim or the whole argument. All right. The heart of the argument is the claim, but you need to support the claim with the evidence. It has to be from a valid reference. All right. Either it's a study which is published in a journal, or it's a fact which has been stated in a book, or it's an experiment which has been done and the results have been presented to a large set of people, scientific community or otherwise, but it should be from a valid reference. It's a valid reference presented to support your claim. If you don't provide evidence to support your claim, then your argument becomes weak or in fact dismissible sometimes. Right? So most of the time we see husbands and wives exchanging heated arguments, and all those arguments are hollow without proper evidence. They are just claims. You are like this, you are like this, you are like this, you are like, okay, prove how am I like that? All right. So yeah, but however, you might be a great debater. Please don't take this idea that you can win an argument with your wife. Many men have tried and failed. That was a joke. Most of you don't get it. Maybe. I'm sorry, I'm poor at jokes. All right. So we will also get to know about the term called refute. Now, refute is to prove, an argument or a statement to be false or wrong by providing another counter argument or an evidence. All right. So whenever your son says, video games improve brain connections, suddenly you will say, no, video games doesn't improve brain connections. Here are the evidence. So what effectively what you're doing is you're refuting the other person. All right. Refuting means it's actually completely destroying their argument. It's you're proving their argument to be false. All right. You have proper evidence. You have all the facts laid down on the table, and people can see that, and it can be proved as false. For example, someone says the sun sets in the east. All right. The sun sets in the west. So you can bring very solid evidence that the sun sets in the west. And effectively what you have done is you have refuted that argument, that claim that the sun sets in the west, the sun sets in the east. You have actually refuted that argument that the sun sets in the east. Yeah. Now rebut. You will also hear about the word rebut a lot in your journey in debates. So rebut is to contradict or to oppose in a formal manner, all right, by argument, proof, or etc. In the process of refuting, you can rebut. All right, rebut is nothing but you can contradict or oppose. Now, there is a format for debate which we follow in Toastmasters. All right, we have three speakers on one side, on the affirmative side. If you have heard me carefully, the affirmative side speaks for the motion. There are three people for the motion and three people against the motion. Now, the first speaker will come up and present his or her arguments. And before the first speaker from the negative side comes and speaks, they will cross-examine the first speaker. Now, what is cross-examination? Cross-examination is a segment in a debate in which you refute or weaken your opponent's arguments. You get a chance to examine them. Whatever you have said, I want to examine it. I want to find the loopholes in whatever you're saying. Okay, whatever you said. So if you are the first speaker, all right, or let's say if I am the first speaker from the affirmative team, I have come and told, okay, why video games should be banned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I've presented 5 arguments, all right, one contention. So what my contention was video games improve brain connections. All right, I have presented 5 different arguments supporting that contention. Now you are the second speaker. Now you will come and say, no, you said this video games improve brain connections because there was a study done in the Stanford School of Brain Institute that the neuron connections in the brain have improved. Now, can you tell me how many people were taken as test subjects and for how long was this study conducted? All right. So what you're doing is you're examining whatever I am saying. Right. I said that there was a study and they found in that study that the the neuron connections have improved and the neuron to neuron link has strengthened. All right. Now you will come and ask me, how many test subjects were there in that particular study or that experiment? And for how long did this study go on? Say, for example, there were only 2 test subjects and the study only went on for, let's say, 6 months. Then you can easily say that this test subject does not have enough sample, to consider it to be generalized. All right. So you're pointing flaws in whatever I am saying. You're weakening my argument. So as debaters, it is very important that we see things very critically. Now that is the very reason why we formed this club. It was immediately formed after the synergized debaters conference. Why? Because we understood the importance of critical thinking. How important it is to examine each of the statements we hear and understand the underlying assumptions in it, and then we can come to see the truth more clearly. So in the cross examination you will get a chance to contradict or to oppose, and or even to refute few of the arguments what your opposing team has said. Now, after you cross-examine, you will have 3 minutes time or 3 to 4 minutes time to present your arguments. So the first minute or 45 seconds, you take that first 45 seconds or a minute to rebut. Means rebut is nothing but a summary of whatever you have said in the whatever you have done in the cross examination. You give a summary of that. So you say that my worthy opponent in the cross examination has failed to provide that the information which I've asked, that how long was the test for and how many test subjects were there. Since he or she could not provide such a vital information, we have come to conclude that whatever claim this person has forwarded is a very weak argument. So as an audience, sitting in the audience, as a judge sitting in the audience, I see that you have successfully rebutted or refuted that particular argument, and that argument somehow has become weakened. So it is very important that that particular segment is called rebuttal. Okay, you can also call it as a rebuttal. This can also be called as a rebuttal. In that rebuttal is nothing but a summary of everything what you have done in the cross examination. Any questions? I'm sure people will have questions here. So I would invite Toastmaster Prince also to be on the podium so that he can take few questions.
I have one.
Yes, Ritesh.
Yes. So I am assuming that you first cross-examine the uh, opponent's argument and then you give a rebuttal, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You can,
So the
you can,
refuting comes in my argument or my debate. So this refute, rebut, and cross-examination are different. Like cross-examination, rebut go together, and refute comes from my argument.
no,
Have I
refutation.
understood that part right?
Yeah, the refutation can happen in the cross examination as well. The rebut and refute can both happen in the cross examination, and the rebuttal can happen in your prepared speech, in your speech which you are going to give. So you can weaken the argument, the other opposition's argument, and you can completely destroy an argument. You can do two things in cross examination. You ask clarifying questions in such a way that you will destroy the argument completely, or you will rebut or you weaken the argument considerably. All right. So you can do two things in cross examination. However, the rebuttal is nothing but a part of the segment in your speech after you give after you cross examination. There is a 4-minute period for you to give your speech. The first minute you take it for providing a summary of this cross examination. That we call it as a rebuttal. Prince, do you want to chip in here?
No, Noor, I think it's pretty much covered because there are two parts basically. There is a cross examination and then there is a constructive speech. So in the cross examination, like Noor rightly said, you can refute, you can rebut. It's totally up to you how you want to utilize that time to show that your logic is superior to your opponents, to whatever arguments you're having. When it comes to your constructive speech, is when usually a professional debater starts with a rebuttal. So that's your time when you can say that my worthy opponent mentioned this. However, you can put your points forward, and then you can go ahead with your part of the constructive speech. That's pretty much what it is. Back to you, Noor.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you so much. Anyone? Any questions?
DTM Dennis has his hand raised. Go ahead, DTM Dennis.
Yes.
Yeah, Noor. Just a definition on the cross-examination. In my mind, cross-examinations means an interaction between the two individuals. Is that true for this, or are you simply presenting points?
No, it is true. It is an interactive session. Cross-examination is an interactive session. So you will ask questions, and the person who has given the constructive speech earlier will respond to your questions. And through this interaction, we will come to know, we will have a clarification of whatever the person has presented in the constructive speech. So it is an interactive session. Like same thing, like how it happens in the court, right? You go and you cross-examine the witness, and the witness also says something, right? So it's something similar to as a defendant. You can speak when the advocate or the defense attorney cross-examines you. You have a chance to speak, right? So same thing happens in the cross-examination. Any other questions?
I'm just continuing what Dennis asked.
Yes.
How much time do we get for cross-examination and then giving our constructive speech?
Yes. So let's say the first speaker has 4 minutes of speech, then you get 2 minutes to cross-examine that speech. All right. So the best course of action for you is to prepare your cross-examination questions well beforehand, anticipating what arguments the other team might prepare. All right. So you anticipate certain arguments, and to those arguments, you will find well before the debate happens, you will find several cross-examination questions. But the important aspect is to listen to the whoever is presenting the constructive speech. It's called as a constructive speech. When you're presenting your arguments, it's called as a constructive speech. So you listen carefully to the constructive speech, and then you immediately write down all the loopholes. All right. You carefully listen, find out where this person has missed what information. Say, for example, they presented a study, and that study was from 1970s. It's no longer relevant in 2020. All right. So you question the relevance of that particular study. You question the, the several aspects which have been presented in that study, including the number of test subjects, for the time taken for that experiment. All right, and the results were the results agreed by the scientific community in this aspect. All right, so you question all these things, all right, in your cross examination. So you listen carefully in that constructive speech segment. All right, and then you write down. So this cross examination, even your teammates, they can write you immediately some questions and they can hand it over to you, because you are the person who is going to cross examination. So cross examination is a team effort. So you also write down questions, and your teammates also quickly jot down questions, and they give those papers to you. And then you get a chance to cross-examine the person who has just given the constructive speech. That happens in Toastmasters debates. In other forms of debates, you don't get a chance to cross-examine, but you get a chance to rebut in your constructive speech itself. All right. So in Toastmasters form of debate, definitely you'll get a chance to cross-examine, then you will cross-examine, and then you continue with your constructive speech. Any questions?
Just to add to that, Noor.
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
so just to be a little more clear to everyone here who's not very familiar with the format of debates. Now, in a cross examination, there are two parties. There is one who is the cross examiner, which is the team that is asking the question, and then there is the cross examinee, the team which is defending the questions being asked. Okay, so this cross examination is between two people, the cross examiner, one representative of the cross examination team, and one representative of the team which is a cross examinee. Now, what is important to understand is that this time belongs to the cross examiner mainly, okay, because the cross examiner is the one who's sitting on the driving seat, right? And the cross examiner is going to ask questions to the cross examinee based on the speech that was just given, or based on the team members, or of what the team members had spoken. And it is the duty of the cross examinee to prove, or rather to put across points in a way that their logic still stands strong, the team logic. So the way this is done usually is that if I am a cross examiner, I ensure that I use these 2 minutes to my benefit or my team's benefit. So what I do is I ask mostly close-ended questions, okay, which means I try to ask it in a way where I just need an answer in a yes or a no, so that if you tell me a yes and I wanted to hear a yes, I move to my next question. And My conclusion to that question and answer comes during my rebuttal speech when I'm, or my constructive speech when I'm back in the rebuttal part of it. And I say that when I asked my worthy opponent about this is what they said. This proves that their logic is not to the point. There are loopholes in their argument because of this, right? So I can come back during my constructive speech and say that this is what cross-examination is basically about. So that's it. Back to you, Noor.
Thank you, Prince. So Prince brought about another important aspect of cross-examination.
I know it's.
Yes, Sandeepa. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So yes, I was once a part of this argument. So I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand because first of all, I joined the meeting a little late. So apologies if I'm going to reiterate certain things, but I'm just trying to get a little clarity here. So the refute part where it's written here, right? You're proving a particular argument or statement false. The statement, whatever is given to us, we are giving certain evidences and making sure that we have certain facts and figures that stands for our reason to contradict it. And when we are coming to rebut part, it is the contradiction on the other person, the other team's points that they have made, and we are trying to give certain facts and figures on those points.
Correct.
And when we are talking about the cross examination, it's like a summarization wherein we try to give certain pointers and also list down from the other team's points and give a kind of an answer wherein we have a more weightage on our side. Is the thing that I've understood correct?
Yes, I will clarify the cross-examination part. Cross-examination is a segment. All right, you get 2 minutes to cross-examine whoever has given the speech earlier. You get 2 minutes time to do this segment called cross-examination. In this segment, you will refute and also you will weaken, that is rebut, the arguments which has been presented by the opposing team. All right. Say, for example, you are the last person to do the cross-examination. So you can cross-examine, you can rebut and refute all the arguments which have been presented until your time. All right. So in that segment, you get a chance to refute and you get a chance to rebut. Like how Prince said that you ask close-ended questions like, is it true that this study took only 2 weeks? Yes or no? So if they would say yes, that means you got an answer that the study only went on for 2 weeks. Hence, it can be dismissed as a study which need not be considered for a long-term impact. All right. So you ask this close-ended questions or sometimes questions in such a way that it lead you to what you are actually aiming. You will aim to refute all the arguments. Your primary aim in the cross-examination is to destroy the other arguments completely. If you cannot destroy the arguments completely, you at least weaken those arguments considerably. All right, that's your aim in the cross-examination. The tools which you are going to use to destroy the argument is refute, you call it as refutation, and to weaken the other argument is rebut, right? So refute and rebut are the things, are the tools, or are the are like the tools which you use in the cross-examination, right? In form of close-ended questions most of the time. All right. So you use them in cross-examination. And rebuttal, rebuttal, rebuttal is that 1 minute, the summary of all the cross-examination which you have done. Then you will go ahead, you will give your constructive speech after your cross-examination. In that constructive speech, you just give a summary of all your cross-examination. All these questions have led you to the aim, right? You have refuted. So you make it clear to the audience in your constructive speech. The first 1 minute of your constructive speech, you use to make it clear to the whole audience that, see, this is what I have asked and this is what they have said. And this somehow, and hence their argument has been weakened or completely destroyed. So the judges, if they didn't catch all the things in the cross-examination, they will get to have a recap of the cross-examination in your constructive speech. The first 1 minute of your constructive speech is for your own benefit. You can do it or you can leave it. But usually it is recommended that in your constructive speech, the first 45 seconds or 1 minute, you use it to summarize your cross-examination. It's also called as rebuttal. That summary is called as a rebuttal. All right.
Oh, oh, yeah. Thanks. Anup.
Moving on. I'm not
DTM
seeing
Dennis
the
has his
timer
hand
here.
raised. Anup. DTM
Yeah.
Dennis has his hand raised.
Yes, Dennis. To Dennis. Hi, Dennis. You're there? You have your hand raised. Do you have a question for me?
I think it's just a technical glitch.
Oh.
Noor, I think you can go ahead.
Prince, can you let me know about the time? Because I'm not able to see the time. How long has it been?
It's already 41 minutes.
41 minutes. Okay. I'll just try to end up. All right. Moving on. Now, as you see here, there are several in the cross-examination. You try to find the logical fallacies. Now, it's like a cardinal sin as a debater to commit logical fallacies. Now, you can read about these logical fallacies if you Google the internet, or I will share with you books on logical fallacies. If you are in the the Critical Thinkers Folk WhatsApp group, I share most of my stuff there. So the guests who are not members of Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club also can benefit from the information which we share for the public. So please join the Critical Thinkers Folk WhatsApp group. I'll be sharing links to several internet resources along with some books which might be useful for you. So there are several logical fallacies which you need to be aware whenever you listen to some arguments like a claim or the evidence which has been presented, you understand that there is a logical fallacy committed. For example, if you see the bandwagon logical fallacy here, if you see my mouse on the screen, you see the bandwagon logical fallacy. Now, the bandwagon logical fallacy says that appealing to the popularity or the fact that many people do something as an attempted form of validation, just because some people are doing this doesn't mean it validates the fact. Okay, maybe several people are doing it, but it might be false. Right? So that's a logical fallacy. So when you have an understanding about these logical fallacies, you get to point them in your cross-examination segment. All right. So read about the logical fallacies. It's a whole lot of another presentation for logical fallacies. All right, which we will consider doing it in the next or in the upcoming meetings. Similar to the logical fallacies, we have something called cognitive biases. Right? We human beings, whenever we speak, we are biased beings. All right, primarily because of our experience we have accumulated over time. So, for example, the second one in here, which is being shown on the slide, is the confirmation bias. You look for ways to justify your existing beliefs. You believe something, and you somehow look for ways. Your mind is not yet open to entertain new ideas. Right? So you somehow, whenever you listen something, you are in a defensive mode. You somehow want to justify your existing beliefs. The sign of an intelligent mind is that it can entertain an idea without accepting it. All right. So you need evidence and you need a lot of facts to understand and to replace your existing beliefs. Right. You believe in something for a reason. Right? You just don't blindly believe something. If you blindly believe something, it's called an axiom. That is, God exists is an axiom. Like you don't ask for a proof for it. You just believe it. It's an axiom. But other than the few axioms what we have in our life, we believe in something with good valid reasoning. Right? So know about the cognitive biases which we have. The same thing which I said regarding the logical fallacies, I'll be sharing more information on cognitive biases, because logical fallacies and cognitive biases will require definitely another presentation completely. All right, it's a hour to 2 hours presentation on that. So we can discuss in detail what these cognitive biases are and what the logical fallacies are. Moving on. So just to recap, we understood that a contention is a set of arguments. All right. So video games are good for brain improvement. There are certain arguments, 1 and 2. So contention has a set of arguments, right? So video games are good for brain improvement. Then we say that studies claiming a causal link between video game violence and real life violence are flawed. The US Supreme Court ruled that violent video games do not cause the youth to act aggressively. Now, this is the motion that video games should be banned is the motion. It contains a contention. This is from the point of view of the affirmative team. All right. This is a contention of the affirmative team. So the contention is the video games are good for brain development. It contains 2 arguments. Now, each argument, as you see, that is the first argument, video game violence and real life violence are flawed, contains a claim, which, and also this claim is supported by the evidence, and this is coming from a valid reference. All right. So this is just a recap. So this is the motion, and we had the contention, and the contention had several arguments, and then each argument has a claim, evidence, and it is taken from a valid, solid reference. All right, it's not just a claim reference from Wikipedia who anyone can edit. So it's important to understand that contention, motion, your debate contains several contentions. Each contention contains an argument, several arguments, and each argument contains a claim, evidence, and a valid reference. All right. Now, how to go about debate? Work as a team, brainstorm and bounce several ideas with your team. Don't dismiss anything during the brainstorming session. How much ever tangential the idea might be, how much ever radical the idea might be, entertain all ideas. All right. Put everything on the table and then you filter it later. All right. The second important suggestion is to define the terms of your argument, the terms of your motion as close to truth as possible. If I hear the definitions of the terms in the argument, I can tell you whether this team is going to win or not, if assuming that they're going to be logical in the debate. All right. So define your terms as closer to truth as possible. Now build your contentions well as the understanding of the and have an understanding about the opposition's contentions also. So anticipate what the other team might also come up with. So when you anticipate what the other team might come up with, the counter contentions and the counter arguments, then you're well prepared. Iterate. All right. Keep refining your speech. All right. Write your speech, your constructive speech, whatever you're going to present is called a constructive speech. And that speech, you keep refining it with add more arguments to it. Cut where you need to cut. You know, call spade a spade. All right. Don't exaggerate. Just keep your speech precise. All right. With valid evidence and references, and work on your cross-examination questions. Very important. To win a debate is decided in the cross-examination, and how well a person can craft the cross-examination questions will reflect the type of thinking, the critical thinking, and the understanding the person has regarding the subject, the debate itself. So work on your cross-examination questions and then give a well-rehearsed constructive speech with well-formed rebuttal. Rebuttal is nothing but the summary of whatever comes in the what happened in the cross-examination. And then if the summary speech is given by the team captain, if you are the team captain, give a solid summary speech. Prepare the summary speech well beforehand if you are the team captain. Remember, it's debate is all about teamwork. You might be a lone wolf, you might be an excellent debater, you are awesome, you have great logical reasoning, amazing persuasion skills, But if you don't work as a team, your team loses, right? If you are the lone wolf, make a pack, all right? Be the alpha of the team if you want to, but make a pack. You win when you go in packs. So work as a team and get better results. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Prince.
Thank you, DTM Noor, for a wonderful, informative presentation on the basics of debating. Can we have a round of applause for a wonderful presentation? You can unmute yourself.
Yay.
Thank you, guys. Whoever has said yay and who will get something from me.
Thank you, DTM Noor. Wonderful presentation, of
Thanks
course.
so much.
And just to add something to that, for those of you who saw the tagline of this workshop, does anyone remember what was written? Don't ...
Yeah, don't raise your voice, improve your argument.
Absolutely. So just to touch upon that aspect as well. Now we've been debating professionally for, I think, a couple of years, 6-7 years now. And just to share a bit of my experience with you as well on what I've learned on this aspect of debates. So this is how it works. Whether you are a professional debater or you're not, if you are not able to conduct yourself in a balanced manner while debating, you're all the same, right? So what makes you stand aside or unique as a debater is your mental balance, is how calmly you can put your points forward, not get perturbed by the noise. Okay, and this is something I have noticed over a period of years, or many of these years. Even the best of debaters let go of their balance while debating when they get emotional about a subject, when they let the ego of a speaker come in the middle of the subject that is being debated, right? It's very easy to fall for that. Believe me, it's the easiest thing to just get triggered by that, right? So, what debating teaches us is to maintain that balance. So, as a debater, you will never lose your cool, but you will know what is the point you need to pick on, and very calmly but assertively put your point forward and say, fellow debater or my worthy opponent, the reason I don't agree to you on these points is because of ABC. That closes everything. You don't have to be loud, you don't have to be aggressive, you don't have to be your emotions all over the place. you know that changes over a period of time. So you may start in that way, but as you learn more of debating, experience more of being more, what do you say, balanced mentally, you turn out to be a better debater over a period of time, right? So that's the learning. So that's what we mean by don't raise your voice but improve your argument. Be assertive with your views, be strong with your what you think about a subject with strong logical reasons, without having to raise your voice to prove that. That is what it's about, right? And just to give you an example from the Synergize conference last year, DTM Noor was also there during that as our coach. uh, we did face during the semifinals, we were in a situation where, for those of you who like cricket, the sledging, the term sledging, where the opposing team tries to push you off track, right? Tries to push you off track by pushing you, by saying things that may disturb you. So the reason we won the debate, I would say, I would say a lot of that is because we maintained our balance through the debate. We were pushed, we were disturbed in a lot of ways, through that debate, but we maintained our balance and we got through that phase without losing our cool, right? So that's what kept us on track, and I think that's one of the reasons we could really capitalize on the debate. So that's the learning, and that's what that whole uh, catch line of don't raise your voice, improve your argument was all about. So I hope this session has added value to everyone here. I sincerely hope that it has helped you improve as a debater, and in future to participate in debates to really learn what this is all about, right? Great. Now, coming to the next part of the session, it's about, now we are moving from theoretical to practical. Okay, like
Prince,
how.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ritesh.
Sorry, I have to interject. Noor, most of the points which you mentioned, along with claim, counter, uh, counter evidence, rebuttal, refute, that is for the negative team. Does the affirmative team get a chance to what I call,
Yes.
do the same?
Yes, Ritesh. See, for example, the affirmative team comes and gives the constructive speech. As a negative one speaker, you will get a chance to cross-examine. Then after your cross-examination, you will give a constructive speech, correct? So the other person from the affirmative team will cross-examine you. So everyone on both the teams get a chance to present their cross-examination, present their constructive speeches, as well as they get a chance to do the cross-examination. So everyone gets a chance to cross-examine, everyone gets a chance to present their constructive speeches. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thanks, Noor. That was my lingering doubt.
Yeah, if you participate once in a debate, you will get all your questions cleared. So right now is a session which, as Prince said rightly, we move from theoretical to the practical. Now have an experience of the practical, how it happens, and then you will get a clear idea about how a formal debate is being conducted. However, this might be a abridged version of what exactly happens in a debate because this is debate table topics. But we will have definitely. I request our president to conduct once a whole session on just the debate itself, like how we used to do the debaters. Over to you, Prince.
Thank you, DTM Noor. For sure, it's a part of the plan. I'm sure in the next 1 or 2 meetings, we will be seeing a proper debate in this club. So everyone is welcome. For those who are genuinely interested to participate in the debate, also you may give in your names to the Vice President Education Gayatri or the rest of the XCOM who are here. You can put it on the group as well, or mention it on Critical Folk WhatsApp group. If you're interested to participate, we will have a professional, proper debate in the format that is being followed at Toastmasters International. Well, now coming to this part of the next part of the meeting, moving from theoretical to practical, is how we apply what we learned from the workshop conducted by DTM Noor to actually debating. Since this is not going to be a proper professional debate per se, what we're going to do is a mix of debate and table topics, right? So as Toastmasters, we're all aware of what table topics is. You just get it off. You just think about what the topic is, speak with whatever thoughts come through your mind on a certain topic. That's what table topics is about. The twist in debate table topics is that we're going to have two people at one time, two Toastmasters at one time. One will be selecting the for and one will be selecting against. And when I say the topic, the contestant or rather the debater who chooses for speaks for the topic. And when that is done with, the other debater speaks against the topic. Okay, and at a later stage, I would request DTM Noor if we could have a polling or a voting to vote the best table topics debater for today. I think that would add more spice to the event altogether. And I also request the timer. DTM Bindu, are you with us? Yeah, if you could. Okay. If you could please help us with the timing, like a normal table topics is going to be 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
1.5, 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think at 2:30 we need to mute the speaker, so we don't cross the time. That's allowed.
Sure.
Okay. Yes, I think that was right. At 2.5 we mute the speaker. All right. So my only request to everybody here is that we are all learning, so please don't hesitate to participate. We have some interesting topics, and depending on the time, we will cover topics. So for the beginning, for the start, I would call upon two debaters, any two debaters who would like to come here and participate in this debate table topics contest. Any two debaters. Come on, who's going to hold the flag? Everybody is waiting for someone to put their hand up. I can see DTM Dennis. Welcome, DTM Dennis. Fantastic. Who wants to challenge DTM Dennis? Well, we have Sandeepa with us, who's going to challenge DTM Dennis on this debate.
Oh, I surrender. No.
I'm not challenging. I'm not challenging. I hope I'm audible. I don't know why I'm facing. Is it like I'm the only one who's getting this voice breaks or
No, you're clear for
hello?
us, Sandeepa. You're clear for us.
Hello?
All right. So between DTM Dennis and Sandeepa, please tell me who would like to be for and who would like to be against the topic before I say the topic out.
Sandeepa, you choose.
You can go ahead, Dennis. I'm okay with anything.
Well, I will be for then.
All right. So DTM Dennis is for and Sandeepa is against. All right. So here we go. Now, just to let everyone know how I would say the topic is, it starts with resolved and then the topic, right? So the topic that I say is for, and that's what DTM Dennis has to speak about. And Sandeepa would have to come up and speak against that topic. Okay, that's how it goes. So DTM Dennis, here we go. Resolved. Working from home is more efficient than working from office. Resolved. Working from home is more efficient than working from office. Over to you.
Well, if anything has been learned in the last year or so of the pandemic, it is that working from home is vastly superior and more productive than going into the office. Many businesses resisted this for a long, long time, but when it was thrust upon them, what's come out of that is that the workforce is every bit as productive, if not more productive in most cases, working from home than they are from the office. Number one, you relieve the stress and the tension of a commute to get into work. And depending on where you live, that can be very stressful. So you're relieving that. Most of especially the office type work is done on a computer anyway. So being remote, there is no change in what can be accomplished there in the tools that are necessary. Sometimes companies have had to provide tools for people to be able to do that. But what we found is that there's no reduction in what people are able to do from home. The third reason, and some people would say probably the most important reason, is that it allows the person to relax as they're working. When you're working from home, you don't have to worry about, how you're dressed or what you're doing in front of people. You're just simply concentrating on your job, which I really believe is the reason why productivity is greater, is because people can do it in a more relaxed atmosphere. So my contention is that, in fact, working from home is a vastly superior way for people to work than going into the office. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Dennis. Over to Toastmaster Sandeepa to oppose the topic.
Thank you so much for those insightful words that you've brought out. Now, there were times where we were at the office and just asking to have that work from home, the craving that we used to have to get that work from home was immense. At least out of 100%, there used to be 99% of the lot wanting work from home. And today, when we see that almost 95% of the people are already working from home, think again. Are we really productive? Are we really that efficient? Are we really that extra energetic that we used to when we were at the office? Well, I have seen certain people, right, from my friends, my sister, my colleagues, everyone, they do work. I do not deny. But when it comes, you do see that certain messages popping up every now and then. I have a current outage. Will join back as soon as I get it. But are those messages always valid? Think again. People start finding excuses to get away from work. People start finding different reasons to start not working there. Hence, I feel somewhere work from home is not that efficient that we used to when we are working from office. Secondly, I've also seen when, especially at Bangalore, let's bring the example of Bangalore, when we used to get up so early because we knew the traffic. If we even had got up 1 minute late, the entire half an hour would go in waste. But right now, when you're at home, you get up around 10 o'clock, you just switch on your laptop, and you are in your bed working. That is the amount of energy gone down when we are. So where is the efficiency there? Where is the productivity happening? Think again. Is work from home really efficient? Well, according to me, if you ask, not that much. Over to you, Prince.
Thank you, Sandeepa and DTM Noor, DTM Dennis. Thank you so much for wonderful thoughts actually sharing with us. And I'm sure this has prepped up or pepped up a lot of the audience debaters here with us. So for the next debate, I think I had seen DTM Mu Bera also raise her hand. Is that right, DTM Mu? Would you like to participate?
Yeah.
Perfect. So who would like to come up and participate on this debate with DTM Mu Bera? Anyone? Please raise your hand. Or please unmute and speak. DTM Mu Bera, you've scared the debaters away.
For no reason.
For no reason. I can see DTM Nilufer smiling so sweetly. So would you like to come up and participate on this debate?
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you so much. All right, so now we have two debaters ready. May I know who would like to be the for and who would like to be against?
I'll go against.
All right, so DTM Mubera for, okay. So here goes the topic. Oh, this is an interesting one. Resolved. A live-in relationship is happier than a marriage. Resolved. A live-in relationship is happier than a marriage.
Good evening, everybody, and my worthy opponent. A live-in relationship is happier than a marriage. There are three keywords here: a live-in hyphenated phrase, happier, and marriage. So let's begin with marriage. What is a marriage? A marriage in legal terms is when two people come together and decide to spend a lifetime together. And this is endorsed by the state or by the authorizing body of the community that they belong to. Happiness is something, in my opinion, is what makes us bloom, flourish, and face each day with joy. Now, where does a live-in relationship come into this? A live-in relationship is when two people decide to live in without the sanctity of a legal document or state as partners in every sense of the word. So why shouldn't a live-in relationship be considered to be accepted by society? And why does this question arise? In my opinion, definitely a live-in relationship will be happier or is happier than marriage. A live-in relationship is when two adults decide to spend time together and they decide to spend all aspects of their life together, emotional, social, and physical. And in doing so, they understand each other as much as they can without the pressure of being married or conforming to norms of society. And this definitely brings about happiness because they are adults and they know what they are doing. So they can see for themselves whether they are compatible and whether the relationship works or not. Eventually, if they do get married and seek the sanctity of law or community, they have tried and tested the recipe before. Over to you.
Thank
you.
you, DTM Mubera.
Oh.
Thank you so much. I would now like to hand over to DTM Nilufer to oppose the topic.
Thank
Over to
you, Toastmaster Prince and DTM Move for that enlightening discourse on a live-in relationship. But exactly what is a live-in relationship? Maybe it is a precursor to the marriage. Maybe it is a mock marriage. Marriage is a social contract which has been in existence since time and civilization, and that gives proper sanctity to the children that comes out of the marriage, to the relationship. It involves a commitment which is not only made to each other as in a live-in relationship, but in a social manner in front of so many people, which gives it that much more sanctity and that gives it that much more relevance. So yes, marriages can be happier and then live in relationships because here the people, they understand each other, and they know that they are in for the long run, and they also have this option that if things don't work out, then they can easily walk out of the marriage. There is the recourse to divorce in so many societies and even in so many religions. So marriage is a social contract, is a legal contract. The people enter into it willingly, knowingly. Nowadays, there is a lot of period wherein they are dating each other before they get into the marriage. And it comes in the natural flow of things, and so helps the children, helps society, and it is a building block of the basic building block of society. So doing away with marriage and showing that marriage is the sadder version of a live-in relationship doesn't do any good. It flows with the time, and of course there are exit options even within the marriage. So there is nothing better than a marriage if one is there in for the long term, and if one knows their own mind, and if one is sure that one is able to commit, then this is the legal and the social proper way to enter into a relationship with the opposite sex. Over to our Toastmaster Prince.
Thank you. Thank you for such enlightening words, DTM Nilufer. Thank you so much. And thank you, DTM Mubera, as well. For a wonderful debate. Thank you to both of you. Well, anyone? I can see DTM Venel is interested. Hi, DTM Venel. Good evening.
Evening.
Yes, we have DTM Venel with us. So who would like to participate as well? Anyone from the guests? We have Rajesh, Ravi. We have Remy as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Remy. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. I will give an
You're
attempt.
mute. Remy, would you like to participate?
Yeah.
Perfect. Very good. Fantastic. So we have Venel and we have Remy with us. Who would like to go for and who would like to go against?
Venel, you can choose.
Okay, let the newer member decide.
Okay, then I will go for.
Okay.
Okay, so Remy is going to go for. All right. So Remy, here is the topic. Resolved. The COVID-19 vaccine must be made mandatory for everyone. Resolved. The COVID-19 vaccine must be made mandatory for everyone. You're for the topic, Remy. Go for it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In my opinion, vaccination is the only time-tested and proven method for eradicating any of the virus, bacterial, and other kind of infection. And we have been using different kinds of vaccines since last 50 years for humanity. And on the face of this COVID crisis, we should be using the time-tested and proven method of vaccination. And this should be, I am for the point that this should be forced and this should be made mandatory for all, as all person on this planet are not scientifically literate, and they may not be able to make choices in life which involves highly scientific facts. So there may be cases that some anecdotal fallacies will be there against vaccination, as anecdotal case studies will be coming up, some false beliefs and false claim will be there. But vaccination, it's a scientifically tested, proven, and it's not just for COVID, it's for a quite lot of diseases and against a lot of viruses. We have eradicated a lot of viruses from the face of this earth, and I'm sure that we will eradicate COVID, or we will contain COVID very successfully with the vaccination. And the vaccination is the only way we can go forward, because there is no other proven way which we can go to eradicate this virus from the face of the earth. Over to Toastmaster President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Remy. Thank you so much. Over to Venil to oppose the topic.
Can I hear the topic one more time? Is that okay?
Sure. Resolved, the COVID-19 vaccine must be made mandatory for everyone. I'll repeat that. Resolved, the COVID-19 vaccine must be made mandatory for everyone.
Should the smallpox vaccine have been okay? Was it compulsory? Was it necessary for the smallpox vaccine to be compulsory? See, I had the smallpox vaccine, even though I was born after smallpox was eradicated. But because my parents and the so-called doctor, I'll tell you the story some other time, so-called doctor were over-enthusiastic, I was vaccinated for smallpox. Now, I think you can all see my hand up here. It's very, very dry. It's because of a condition called atopic dermatitis. And people with that condition are not supposed to get the smallpox vaccine. That caused a very severe adverse effect for me as a child, but I overcame it. And the doctor said, it's good if she has it. Okay, it was not good. When that is the understanding for the smallpox vaccine, which had been highly successful for how many years? For 30 years, 40 years before? How much do we know about the COVID vaccine? Is it right to say everyone? Or should we vaccinate the healthy population first? Make sure we vaccinate the population who do not have any contraindications first, and then we take it with proper medical consideration to the rest of the population. Because the objective here is to achieve herd immunity. It is not to go on checking off a list saying so many people have been vaccinated. I think vaccination, even with a sound scientific approach, it has to be measured, and at every step, it has to be scientific. If that is not done, when these checkpoints are not in place, that's when the anti-vax crowd is able to get a foot in. That is when they are able to say vaccination is wrong. So I believe that the COVID vaccine should not be mandatory for everybody, but there should be a proper scientific measured approach. Over to you.
Thank you, DTM Venil, as well for your views. Thank you both participants, Remy and Venil, for your views. Thank you so much. We have time for one more debate, for sure. I would like to call upon anyone else who's left who would like to participate on this debate. I would encourage the timer. Bindu, would you like to participate? I can handle the timing for your debate, no problem.
I will do.
Fantastic. So who's going to participate along with Bindu? Who's here to participate on this debate?
I will do. Rajesh.
Hi, Rajesh. Good evening. All right. So, Bindu, would you go for or against? And Rajesh, your views on for and against?
For.
I'll go for against.
Perfect. So, Bindu for, Rajesh against. Great. Your topic, Resolved, artificial intelligence will replace human intelligence. Resolved, artificial intelligence would replace human intelligence.
Great topic, Master. Toastmasters and my worthy opponent, Rajesh. This is a long topic, long discussed topic. Artificial intelligence, I would say from my grade 10th, we have been hearing it, and we have been hearing that artificial intelligence will be replaced with human intelligence. There are over time, and it has. Initially I didn't believe it, but then over time, I'm also in the same field as IT, and then partly into artificial intelligence as well, when it comes to industrial automation. And over time, it was almost confirmed, almost we are to a point where we can believe that this has taken place in the world, where when, let's say, when the supercomputer has defeated our chess player, all such occasions, we can say many such occasions wherein we can prove that artificial intelligence was much, was in a much higher state than human intelligence. And the main reason being, we can program it, but then the multitude of calculations it can do, it is much higher than what a normal human brain can process. So this is one point where artificial intelligence it takes a higher altitude than machine intelligence. Another thing what we can see is artificial intelligence is much used in surgeries, in most of the most areas in the industries at present. So medically, in medical surgeries, for that matter, all these kidney transplants, it's all done through robots. It's all because of this artificial intelligence that many of the things that were not possible with a normal human, what a normal human brain can process, is possible now. And I would strongly say that yes, at one point, yes, artificial intelligence will replace human intelligence. Actually,
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you so much for a good viewpoint on this. I would now like to call upon fellow debater Rajesh to oppose the topic.
Few decades back, when the computer introduced, many people are afraid this computer is going to replace the jobs of many human beings. Now, what happens in the last two decades? These computers created many jobs all over the world. Now, many people fear about the artificial intelligence going to replace the human beings. But the human beings required to operate the artificial intelligence. I would say the human intelligence is more powerful than any kind of intelligence comes in the world. The one who created the artificial intelligence created by the human, and the human is more powerful than the artificial intelligence. Yes, we are getting more benefit. We are getting more advantages because of using this artificial intelligence, but it never be replacement for the human intelligence. Did we agree when the computer introduced, it going to replace? It created many jobs, as well as now the technology grows, the world grows, the technology wise. Of course, this artificial intelligence is helping to improve the technology. It's not going to replace the human intelligence. I would say nothing is more powerful than the human intelligence. The human is going to dominate everything, whatever the intelligence comes in this currently or in the future. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rajesh, and thank you, Bindu, as well, for your views on this subject. Thank you so much. For the people who are remaining, is there anyone else who would like to participate in a debate, or shall we move ahead? I can see only two participants here, Ravi Patil and Snehal. Two of you who have not debated yet. If you're interested, let me know, or we will move ahead if you're not interested.
Okay, I'll take a chance. Ravi, this
All right.
is Ravi.
Ravi, yes. Good evening, Ravi.
Hi,
S-
good evening.
Hi. Snail, would you be interested to participate in the debate?
Hi, okay, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I can't
sure.
with you. Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So just to introduce Snail, she's just participated at DTAC in table topics. So be ready, Ravi. You you have some competition. So yeah, but all right,
Okay, no worries. Yeah, let's go ahead.
great. So here's your top. Okay, by the way, so for and against. For and against. Snail, would you like to choose a for and against?
Whatever Ravi chooses.
Okay, so let's just go for Ravi for, Snail against.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. So here's your topic, Ravi. Resolved. Everyone should have the right to own a gun. Resolved. Everyone should have the right to own a gun. Over to you, Ravi.
Right. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. As you remember, when we talked about why we shouldn't be raise the voice when we actually debate, right? And many times when I see the debate, it's all about shouting. And that's where I came to conclude that in debate, it's only shouting, shouting, and shouting. Now, when it comes to the gun, you can actually keep calm and quiet if you have a gun, if you show the gun. That's one point. You do not have to raise the voice, and others will be shut and they will listen to you. That's one point. The other point, whenever I see sometimes in India or anywhere in the world, people are losing their patience actually. And even if you get into altercations with anyone, I think you should have a right to defend yourself, your family when you're traveling with anyone. And if you know that how and when you have to use the gun, then it's in your rights to have a gun to defend yourself, not to attack anyone. So that's my perception that you should have a gun in order to defend your family, to protect your family, at the same time to protect yourself. And if the society in general know how and when to use and exercise the caution, then definitely it's going to help everyone because everyone will be afraid in a way that someone may use the gun. So he will be behaving. Nowadays, the things are like we have to behave, and it's not coming from the roots that people are behaving just because they are being afraid of something. Otherwise, they're not following the rule. So, in my opinion, I will go for a gun, definitely, to protect myself. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ravi, for a very interesting viewpoint on the subject. Over to you, Toastmaster Snehal, to oppose the topic.
Fellow critical thinkers and my worthy opponent, Toastmaster Ravi, or guest Ravi, is it? I'm a big proponent of peace, a Gandhian, you may say so. Trying to be, I cannot really claim to have all those qualities. So therefore, Gandhi and gun cannot go in the same vein. Non-violence is the only way out for this world to move forward, is what I firmly think. Speaking about a few points that Ravi has raised here. He said we can keep calm and raise a gun so that nothing goes wrong. Calmness and gun, no way. A gun is raised only when there's anger, there's fear, and so many of those negative emotions in yourself is the only time when guns are raised. And I don't see that it can in any way help anybody. Secondly, do people really know when and how to use a gun? Ravi just mentioned that if enough, we can have, if enough caution is taken and people know how to use the gun. Well, if that was the case, mass shootings across US we've seen in the last few years wouldn't have happened. Let me give you an example here, which I read about recently. Unfortunately, I don't know the exact source, the name right now, but there was a school where they had done this mock, if in case of a mass shooting, what do kids have to do? How do they tackle the situation? And then nobody was told about it. It was a impromptu sort of thing. Only the teachers knew, the kids weren't aware, so that they know how to handle it. Just that mock drill had a huge negative impact on the children's minds. They had not just fear, it was a traumatic experience. They had to see therapists, the amount of fear that had come into their lives. So I believe if we all lay down the guns, what worst can happen? A lot of lives can be saved. We have, as Indians, we know the non-cooperation methods, the non-violent methods, and I think those are the only way out in future. Therefore, calmness and guns don't go together, is all I would say. Over to Toastmaster Prince.
Thank you, Snehal and Ravi, for very, very interesting viewpoints on the subject. It was quite, I really enjoyed the views on the subject from both of you. And also from the rest of our debaters who are here today. Great, lovely to hear from you all. And good to have always two sides of the coin, like you say, two sides of the story to get a 360-degree view of any subject. Uh, Before we go towards winding up this meeting, anybody here who would like to comment on what you've learned in today's meeting, on the workshop as well as the debate front? Anyone for any final comments before we move towards the poll and winding up of this meeting? The members or guests, anybody? I can see Venel's hand is raised. Venel, please go ahead.
I have a question actually. So what happens when you just don't agree with the topic at all? If I'm going to speak against or for, and when I'm totally against it, right? What I got was something that I would not agree with.
Yeah.
What I spoke today.
What you can do when this is the idea of debate. The idea of debate is even if you do not believe it, right? You research and you find out all the facts related to that particular thing. That's how your perspective about the topic is going to improve. That is a bias, cognitive bias, which I mentioned recently, that you will find ways to defend your beliefs. All right, that's your bias. So to counter that bias in debates, whatever position you're given, either you're given the affirmative side or the negative side, you find that perspective. Right, you find you research on that perspective and you give out reasons. Say, for example, I immediately understood by your body language that you didn't want to speak on that COVID thing, because the moment I saw that the topic was told, I could figure out from your facial expressions itself that you didn't want. Right. So the idea here is to find immediately, try to, that's what I said, that the intelligent mind will always entertain an idea without accepting it. You don't need to accept it, right? But you find different ways, all right? Go research on the topic, find out all the arguments for it. And then what happens at the end of the thing is you're much closer to the truth. You have seen the other perspective as well. So why do you believe in what you believe in? Because you have weighed both the sides, and then you have intelligently and with very informed decision you have made to believe in something. All right, you just don't believe in something just like that. You weigh both sides. You see the evidence on this side and you see the evidence on this side, and then you come to a conclusion. All right, so debate is an exercise for you to challenge your existing beliefs as well.
Okay. All right. Can I just
go ahead, please?
Okay. See, in this particular scenario, of course, you heard what I spoke also. So believe me, I've looked at every part of the vaccination debate because I'm a living example of how things can go wrong. Okay, and then I've come to the conclusion that it is necessary. Like I said, not for everybody. Please don't take someone who's just received a kidney transplant and vaccinate them the next moment. But it is necessary. I've come to that conclusion already, and you know me for maybe 6 months or so. You've known me for a while. You know that when I speak in what I believe in. And if I do choose to not to speak about what I don't believe in, it's going to show in the first few seconds.
The idea here is, well, even though that you are in the beginning stages probably of
Mhm.
you know of having yourself exposed to this idea of entertaining the other perspective. I'm not saying you do not entertain the other perspective. I mean to take the side and look at it in a thorough manner. Let's say you believe in something, you have done your research on COVID, and you don't believe that vaccinations should be mandatory, for example. All right, take the other side, research on the other side, not considering just research on that side, and also consider the opposing side, what arguments they will come up with. So you believe that vaccination should be mandatory, then consider the other side as well and see if why vaccinations should not be mandatory. All right. So probably it might take some time, but if you exercise, if you participate in debates for some time in topics which you don't believe in, then you will have this profound revelation about entertaining an idea which you might not believe in. Just entertaining it. You don't need to accept it. Just entertain the idea and see how it flies. Right. So I'm not saying that you you need to believe in that idea which you're speaking. You can entertain the idea. If you believe in, it'll show. If you don't believe in, that passion won't be there when you're speaking.
Mm.
Yeah. So try to see if you can speak with passion, even the other side, and see what kind of impact it has on you. To see why you believe in, you'll at least come to at least you'll come to a conclusion. Either it will be fortifying your existing beliefs, or it will clarify your existing beliefs. One of the two things will happen for sure.
Okay, I'm not done yet, but I think we can take this later on the
Yeah, we
WhatsApp
can take
group
this
or
later on.
something.
I'm sure we can take it.
Sure. Thank you, Wendell, for voicing your thoughts. The only one thing that crosses my mind from what you said is the difference between a belief system and the concept of duality of truth. I think Noor covered that on one of the slides, the duality, right? So it's about two sides, both are true, but it's about whose arguments are closer to the truth, right? That's one whole different way of looking at debates. And then there is a belief system that'll interrupt this duality, right? So the challenge for us, because of our passions on certain subjects, is to not go with the belief system, but to go with the debating aspect of duality and accept that there is another view that may not be our belief system, but we are open to hear that side of it. Maybe my opinions change. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's just about that. And you know what will be interesting, Venel, is there's a concept of turncoat debates. Now imagine this: you would have to speak in a turncoat debate on both sides of the subject. So if I give a subject, I tell you, Venel, go for, you speak for it. And then I say, stop, Venel, now go against, you speak against, with the same intensity and passion. That's debating, right? And that's completely different from a belief system. I hope that clarifies a bit of your thoughts as well. So on the subject, yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. And I think we're coming close to the end. I can take one more comment before we. I can see a comment from Dennis. It can help you understand the position of other than what you would normally be unaware of, thus fostering understanding. Absolutely, absolutely. Look at both sides of the coin, like we say. One more comment from anyone, or shall we move ahead?
I would say I
Yes,
just
Rajesh,
need
go
a
ahead.
small clarification. See, we can speak on what we believe or whatever the knowledge we have on the particular subject or something. Now, during this debate, we have to speak on something opposite to our belief, against our belief, or something we don't know. How a person who is not familiar or who is not expert in that one, who can practice, how he can practice and improve himself in the debate. I understand there are many points covered in this during that session, do you have any simple advice that we can enhance this skill set?
Read. Read as much as you can, Rajesh. Reading is the best way to improve your knowledge. So I always advise any debater to read as much as he or she can. So read different sources from different sources, read scientific journals. Anytime, reading should be a tool for you living your life. For example, let's say I was teaching fractions to my son the other day, and I had to refer to a recent study which had a conclusive evidence on certain fractions. A latest study which was done. Even though fractions I can teach a ninth standard kid in a different way, but I was researching on fractions as well. So anytime, whether you're cooking or whether you're doing an office work which involves a certain topic, research about it. So do more, find out more. Now information is on your fingertips on the internet. The only thing what you need to worry about is identifying a reliable source of that information. All right. So read as much as you can, participate with people who are improving themselves. Join such meetings like Critical Thinkers Toastmasters meeting, or be with people who are always improving the knowledge. So that is the only way to get, to start off and then build knowledge slowly and gradually. At one point of time, you will have knowledge on so many different topics that you can take a stand on any topic. Over to you. I hope I have answered. Anyone wants to add on to that, please?
Thank you.
Can I say
Yeah.
something a little away from this topic? But as Toastmasters, we often evaluate one another. We are on juries, even in a regular Toastmaster meeting. And the first thing that we are asked to do as judges or as someone evaluating is to keep our personal belief system out of it, and to evaluate and judge and assess the other person's point of view purely on the merit of the content of the premise or the points being made across. I guess that holds true for a debate as well. In fact, whenever something challenges my belief system, I always wonder, and that has helped me many a times to understand others' perspective, is what can a person say against this? Like, how could somebody else have another point of view? Because I am so passionate about believing that what I believe is right. Now, the minute you start questioning yourself, or you teach your children to question that what is it that another person will come up with? And that is when we start unraveling our own constraints that we build around our thinking. This is something I wanted to share.
Spot on, no. That was very close, very, very close to the truth. That's absolutely the right way to look at things. You should always be curious about what the other perspective is all about. So that's how, even when preparing for a debate, you anticipate the counter arguments, and that's how you actually, you either understand your beliefs more clearly or you challenge them. Thank you.
Thank you all for your viewpoints on this debate. Now, before we move forward to the polling, we're going to have a poll to check, who is today's debate table topics winner. But before that, if anyone of you is interested in knowing what is my takeaway from today's debate table topics, it's something which I learned from our guest, Toastmaster Ravi Patil. It is to carry a gun for my next debate, so I can intimidate my opponent and win the debate without any further discussions. so thank you for that view on guns as well. Now moving forward to the polling, may I ask DTM Noor to please show us the poll so we can vote for a best speaker. I hope everyone can see it on your screens.
We got one more vote, and then we should close the voting. One person more. Whoever has not voted yet, 9 out of 10. Okay, great. So I'll end the polling.
I
DDM,
participated, but
are
I
all
was
the
not
names
poll.
in that poll?
Yes, there are Dennis,
I think there are
Sandeepa.
some names. I think there are a couple of names missing, is it?
One,
Yeah,
two,
my name
three,
is
four.
missing.
What
okay.
was your name again? Rajesh, right?
Yeah. Done. We are done with that polling. It's okay.
Oh, I see.
Just
No, is it Remy or Rajesh who spoke the other day? So we have
Both
Dennis,
spoke. Both spoke.
Sandeepa. Can we just have a roundup of all the members who spoke? Dennis, Sandeepa, Mubera, Nilofer, Vanil, Remy, Ravi, and Snehal.
Bindu?
Bindu and Rajesh.
Oh, Bindu and
Bindu and
Rajesh.
Rajesh.
Oh, I see. Let me relaunch the poll just for this thing. I will just. I'm sorry, I missed Bindu and Rajesh. So, second. Launch the poll again. So fantastic. So we have all the votes. I'll end the polling. Thank you for your vote. And Prince will announce the winner, I guess.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Just announce it. I don't have the certificates ready yet, so I'll make the certificate.
All right. All right. All right. So just let me know when you're ready with the certificate.
Okay. Meanwhile, you want to take the feedback from the guests? I will make the certificate.
Yes, I think I will work towards concluding the meeting because we already past time.
Oh.
So yes, I think we've had a great meeting today. Firstly, thank you everybody for being there, for being a part of this meeting. I hope this meeting added value to everybody and you learned something more than you did before you came for this meeting. And for those of you who are interested in debates, you can reach out to us, especially the Synergize conference that's coming our way next month that I'd spoken about when we started this meeting. You can take part in roles. If you're a member of Critical Thinkers Club, you can participate in the debate as well. So we have that doorway open also for those who are interested. You will be guided, coached through the debate. Of course, you will get maximum support that we can offer to you as debaters through the learning process. So yes, that's what it's about for this meeting. And just to let everyone know, in all probability, our next meeting is going to be on June the 16th, which is a Wednesday. That's when we usually have our meetings, on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So most probably that's when our meeting is going to be, the 16th. We will announce that officially on the Critical Thinkers group and the folk group later, once we have the ball rolling. We have something interesting lined up for the next meeting as well, so you will be aware of that. Noor, by the way, are we ready with the certificate? Okay, before Noor comes back with us, we can take one more comment from one of the guests or anyone else who's attended the meeting today for your comments, please.
I'm not clear about the timing. I think you said today is Monday. Next meeting you said something on Wednesday, and also you
Yes.
said something on Saturdays.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good that you asked that because you may not be familiar with our meetings. So our meetings are on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's how we do our meetings. Okay. So initially it was only on Wednesdays, but we changed it to also a Saturday because some people could not attend the Wednesday. Okay. Now the reason we have this on Monday today is because the weekend that just passed, we had the district DTAC event, the speech contest, the annual speech contest, district level. So it clashed with the Saturday, and we had to push the meeting forward to 2 days more, especially because we had people who are involved with the event and participants and role players and everything. So we moved it to 2 days ahead as a one-off case. So it's going to be on the Wednesday. I hope that's clear.
And if
All
I may
Wednesdays.
add,
All Wednesdays. Yeah.
Rajesh, if I may add something, DTM Noor has circulated one link in the chat of a WhatsApp
Yeah.
group. So
I
you
noted
join,
down.
yeah, you can join that group and you'll always be in the loop. So you'll come to know when our next meetings are and you can always join our meetings. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
so
Thank you.
that link is there in the chat of the WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Yeah, I came to know about this meeting from one of the meeting I met DTM Gayatri Ravindran. I met her in one of the meeting last Saturday.
Okay.
So I got her contact and she told me about this meeting. And even I forwarded to my club members, many of my club members and club guests, but one person only turned up for this meeting today. Hopefully, if they have attended, then definitely this would have been great
That's
learning
all
for
right.
them.
So Gayatri is our Vice President Education, and she's one of our most passionate members. But unfortunately, due to her personal reasons, she couldn't make it for today. She came in for a bit actually.
She came, yeah,
But
she
had
came
to
and pinged
leave.
me.
Yeah, she had to leave though, so she left. Yes, that's where we stand, Gayatri. Any more comments from anybody else before we move forward? Okay, so I think Noor is ready with the results, and the results are here. So today's debates table topics winner for today's debates table topic contest is hands together for DTM Mubera. Over to you, DTM Mubera, the winner of today's debates table topic contest.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to come to critical meetings. Thank you so much, all of you, all my fellow debaters.
Congratulations.
Thank you, DTM Mubera. You've spoken extremely well for your.
And just a request, please call me Mo. That's it. M-O-U. Mo, it means honey in Bengali. So you know a word now.
Mo. Okay, can you please pronounce it again for us?
M-O-U, Mo.
Mo. Okay, Mo. Great. So that brings us to the end of this meeting. So since we are already running late, I would like to conclude this meeting officially. For those who would like to stay, you can. We can have an informal discussion or talk after this meeting if you have the time. Officially, I would like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for being here. The meeting has been adjourned. Thank you. Mo, I think you are the only person who actually defined the terms of the debate and took it really seriously.
You know, yeah, I was just wondering about the debate tournament that you were mentioning. Is it something like intra-club, inter-club? How does it go? Like,
it's almost inter-district actually, because it's more like last year it was one team from Kuwait, one team from Qatar, one team from Bahrain, and one from Dubai. 4 different teams, just 4 teams last year. This year, I think DTM Noor has a much better idea than me on this. Noor, if you could just advise on how it is being done this year.
Sure, Prince, definitely. Mo, I came to know about your meaning of the name of your name. In fact, that's great, actually. I was thinking something else, but it's honey. So, yeah. Yes, this Synergized Debaters Conference is now it's a global conference. We are inviting teams from various districts. Can be a team from US, and we have teams from India. We have teams from the Middle East. So the invitation is sent to all. So it's a global conference.
so it's under the Toastmaster banner, is it?
It's under Critical Thinking. Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club is organizing this event because district cannot organize it. Neither divisions nor areas can organize such events. Only clubs can organize such events. So critical thinkers are taking up this role this time. Last year it was elite debaters, another club, debating club. This year it's critical thinkers, so on and so forth. Later we are expecting other clubs to take up the mantle.
So have the invitations been sent out to clubs in Qatar?
Not yet. It's the process is ongoing. So we will be sending out official invitation, and we are going to put it up on social media so that we cannot formally send without their permission. So we'll put it up on Facebook and other social media, and interested clubs can contact us.
Yeah, because it's very interesting. And I remember at that time, like I didn't know anything about critical clubs. I don't even think it existed, right, before last year.
Yes, yes.
But Gayatri had gotten in touch with me, I think about 2 years back. And she wanted me to come in because we have an RCS debate club here. I'm a charter member of that club, but we don't, I mean, at that point in time, they didn't do the debates very formally, but every meeting would have debates. So, which is why I was wondering whether the clubs have received the invitations. But if you put it up on social media, I guess everyone has access to that and can apply.
Correct. What I'll do is I'll just share a debate handbook. There is a debate handbook from Toastmasters International. So if you, in the chat, if you see, I'm uploading a debate handbook. Please have a look at it. All the debate, the format of debate is mentioned in it. So you'll be able to better understand the format which is mentioned.
I think last year Sunny Ipe and team participated more.
Yes.
Yeah, they participated. So I think from RCS, but yeah, I had heard from Gayatri about it. But it can, if it's not, I mean, anyone can participate. It need not be restricted only to debate clubs, right?
Correct. Any club can participate.
It's on a club level, is it?
Yeah, it's on a club level. You
Need a
can,
team.
yeah, you need a team to represent. So the team will be a club. So that, however, the team members need not be belonging to the same club. For example, you are a member, you can choose any member from anywhere. However, the member should be a Toastmaster. So you can choose any three participants on your team and you can form, but it should represent a club.
Okay, then we choose a club to represent.
Correct.
Fine. Not an issue.
Now, some pointers I would like to give you regarding the topic which you had. The main idea was whether live-in relationships are happier than marriages.
Yeah.
So what you can focus is on, let's say, what makes live-in relationships more happier than marriages. So you can highlight like there is domestic violence, which causes more problems in marriage. You can talk about commitment, issues related to commitment. You can talk about freedom. You can talk about legal restrictions. Like for example, there was great divorces which happened recently of very famous people like Bill Gates and the Amazon guy. All that. So, and they had to part with considerable amount of their fortune, and which they did hard work for, and they had to give it off. So that has a direct impact on the happiness. So the idea here is focus on the issue at hand. We're not speaking about the marriage itself, but we are speaking what makes the marriage
happy.
Yeah, in the marriage happier or not. All right. So it's very important to focus on that aspect of it. Many times people get carried away by the other terms of the debate, of the motion. So the same thing with COVID, the same thing with the scientific literacy, what he was saying. The 50 years in the past, people were using vaccination, so we should use it. That's a logical fallacy which should have been pointed out. There is no other proven way. It does not make it the most efficient way, and so on. So it's important to focus on the heart of the issue, and then only we can win debates.
Yeah,
But great
correct.
job.
I was just wanting to, I just thought of it right now when you mentioned about famous people divorces.
Yeah.
So just yesterday, our Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK,
Yeah.
he was in a live-in relationship and living in 10 Downing Street with his partner. And just I think yesterday or day before yesterday, he got married in what the papers call the stealth ceremony. Marriage. Yeah. So ultimately, and this was his third marriage. So he's a good example. You need to get married all the time.
It's also a good example, and also it gives a lot of leverage to the other team that it is the third marriage, since he was unhappy for 2 marriages. So he's going on.
Really committed to the concept of marriage.
So whether he lived in or not, he was anyway unhappy.
Yeah, that's the conclusion.
Anyway, I'll take your leave. Nice.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for organizing this. And it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for attending. Oh, we have Samantha Richmond.
Hi, I obviously got my time difference wrong.
Oh, no problem at all. But you have just come when the meeting ended. We are having an informal talk. Just a few of us. Yeah. But glad to be.
I got my time difference wrong. Yeah, that's been happening a lot to me lately.
There is a tool actually, Samantha, for getting to know the time correctly. I will just paste it in the chat. So you can use this thing. You can use this particular tool to not have problems again with your time zone. All right. So let me paste the link. If you use this tool and if you input the date of the particular event, it'll automatically convert it into your time zone. Or for example, you have an event and you're organizing an event, you can use this particular link and it will give a particular link, and you copy the link and paste it to anyone. So when they click on that link, they will be shown your event in their time zone.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm sorry I missed it. I was actually looking forward to this, so my apologies for missing it. But yeah, it sounded like you had a good conversation.
Yes, we did, and we recorded the meeting as well. So I will share the recording with you.
Okay, great.
This is a link you can join our WhatsApp club. All right, so if you can join this particular WhatsApp group, we'll keep you posted on all the happenings of our club, including the videos as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you take care.
All righty.
See you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Looking forward to having you with us.
Yes, with the correct time. I thought I was an hour ahead, but it turns out I'm exactly on the same time as you guys. So yes, I'm going to use that tool. Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Great to have you here. Thanks,
night.
Remy.
Good night. Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.